It's a little bit cold, but look at what I'm wearing and then look at what you're wearing. So, the title of my paper is called "To Break and to Build." You can't stop me, I bellowed in victory, having just split a round of wood roughly 3 feet in diameter. At the Alzar School, I discovered a release of energy like none other, chopping wood. There is no greater feeling of accomplishment after hacking in a monstrous round for 20 or 30 minutes, and then at long last, striking the final blow, witnessing the demise of a seemingly indomitable obstacle as it falls in two, broken. When I arrived at the Alzar School in August, I lived by that victorious mantra: nothing could stop me. I could run faster, jump higher, start quicker, and bench press more than any high schooler I knew. So what in the world could stop me? But as the semester progressed, a maul began chipping away. Strike by strike, and piece by piece, this seemingly inexhaustible force pounded away, refusing to quit and let that round of invincibility remain. Then, with one bone-shattering smash, I broke. You cannot stop me became I cannot do this. In the span of one day, I went from being invincible to very human, from cocky and prideful to ashamed and humbled. This is my growth at the Alzar School. I was transformed through the maul of experience, tutoring, and guidance, from an unstoppable round of wood to a collection of broken pieces. That seems rather dark, doesn't it? But consider this. After you split a round of wood, what purpose do the pieces serve? They are used, are they not? Thrown onto a bed of coals, and with time, they catch. This combination of coals and shattered round is a metaphorical visualization of the young man that stands before you. That busted thing did not lay on the ground for the rest of eternity. Those experiences, as painful and humbling as they were, have been thrown onto a smoldering bed of self-reflection, and they have caught. Through 17 whole weeks of stoking the fire, I have discovered that there is a time and a place for competition, recognize that I too am human and have limitations, and have learned the value of humility. Growing up amongst two very athletic brothers, one older and one younger, competition has been a language of mine since my early years of life. It's a lifestyle that my family fosters, and not in a particularly harmful way either. We, my brothers and my parents, push each other to grow and to change through competition. This message, which trickled down from my parents into my brothers and I, was translated differently by each of us. For example, my older brother Spencer, who is infinitely stronger than I will ever be, uses competition productively by challenging his body to become stronger. While Spencer and I both share this passion of weightlifting, his perception of competition differs pretty dramatically from mine. Being conditioned to strive for excellence and push through adversity has led me to search out challenges at nearly every opportunity, to always be looking for something or someone to beat. Granted, my internal drive to persevere has led me to accomplish some fairly remarkable things, but that desire to push myself transformed into a desire to outdo others, transitioned from challenging myself to comparing myself to those around me. This mindset led me to seeking out competition within the classroom, and before long, I was interrupting other students in the midst of discussion, without my even knowing it, so that I could express my own ideas more than they could express theirs. This habit flickered in and out of use for quite some time without my noticing, and it wasn't until I received a comment on a Harkness rubric saying, "Needs to be careful not to interrupt others." It was then that my habit was exposed to me, and after realizing the disrespect that I had committed, I realized something. I realized that someone more noble, more humble, allows others to speak more often than themselves so that the other can have the spotlight as well. I realized that someone who practices humility also submits to others if they both begin speaking at the same time, something that happens a lot during Harkness discussions. It took that comment for me to realize that my actions were disrespectful, and just like other numerous occasions during my Alzar semester, crack! The maul came down. The idea of chopping wood was very appealing to me before I came to Alzar. I remember my first time ever chopping wood, back at the beginning of this past semester. After receiving the proper instruction from Zane, all of the students proceeded to grab one fairly small round for themselves and test out their new wood chopping skills. With my first swing, I split my small round in two, and then I split another round in one go, and then another, and then another. Even Will Seastrom, an accomplished chopper and Idaho backcountryman, was impressed with my ability. But my pride consumed me, and I assumed that I could tackle any round now. This was the same mentality that I applied to most everything in Alzar. I can bench press 270 pounds. That's like 2 of Grace. So surely I'll be able to kayak, right? Wrong. As many of you guys most likely remember, my first time ever attempting to kayak through a rapid was at Kelly's. And as I attempted to eddy out and catch the current, it was too strong and I was not ready, and it caught the front end of my boat, and I flipped. And not having my roll, and embarrassed, I pulled my skirt, and I swam my way back to shore, ashamed, with my boat in one hand, my paddle in the other, and my helmet pushed over my eyes. So again, whack. Later on the salmon expedition, after scouting the Class 3-4 Rapids snow hole, I felt confident in my ability to run it successfully. So I busted through the first series of waves, I skirted my way around a boulder, and then I was underwater, having been swept over by a gigantic lateral at the bottom of the rapid. So again, crack. Maybe I'm not unstoppable, I began to think to myself. But it was not until that fateful Thursday on the Oahe expedition that I experienced the full power of them all. After leading the group astray about half a mile on Shepherd's Bridge, Cristobal Levine and I attempted to reroute us in the right direction. After roughly 20 minutes with no success, it hit me. I could not do it. My pride, my intellect, my strength, all in one single indefinite blow. Bang. Disintegrate. I fell apart. Now aware for the first time that I could not do something. I became cold, frustrated, and angry. I wanted Jillian and Dan to take over and get me out of that desert. I was finished. My immortality, my pride, my invincibility blasted apart. In less than an hour, I had become human, vulnerable, and humbled in the face of adversity. Harrison did not exist anymore. 2 halves of the previous hole lay on the ground, helpless and unmoving. But then, thankfully, the coals started to heat up. So we made it out of the Oahe backcountry, with Cristobal and I leading the charge, and with the guidance of our teachers. And from that incident on Thursday afternoon until late on Friday night, when our group arrived back at Alzar's campus, self-reflection took over. Little by little, strain by strain, and push by push, those coals heated up the 2 helpless halves, refusing to let them freeze to the ground forever in the middle of the desert. By the time of our arrival at Alzar's campus again, the edges of the 2 halves were starting to smolder. By the next day, the flames had moved inward slightly. By the next week, 1 half was completely consumed. And by today, December 15th, a blazing inferno roars. I finally get it. At the beginning of the Alzar semester, I established the goal to become more humble. I learned through this semester that every person on this earth has a fight that is theirs to fight for the rest of their life. And as time has passed, I have come to realize that mine is a fight with my ego. I am extremely competitive, I get that. And I used to seek every single possible opportunity to outdo someone else, basing my ego off of my physical strength. This Harrison is one that some of my peers may still see, but I assure you that I have changed. I have learned that it is a person's character that holds the most merit, not how many pull-ups they can do. The mall has taught me that I too am human, just as much as everyone else here around me, no matter what I think. From the Oahes and from the numerous other blows the round took, I learned that I too have limitations. I understand. But most importantly, I have gotten off my high horse and have become more selfless, looking for opportunities to perform little background tasks that most people do not see, like folding someone's clean laundry without them noticing. Still, my pride is fuming inside me, enraged with the work of the fire and eager to break through at any opportunity and show itself. That is why my fight with my ego is my fight, because it is never going to end. That is what makes me human and not invincible. So in recent conversations, people have found that I have, all of a sudden, stopped talking completely, apparently checking myself, and they don't know why. But that is a demonstration of my growth. In these recent conversations, my ego has broken through and has begun to speak for me, saying to the fire, "You cannot stop me," and the flames of humility have silenced it.